Good morning, everyone. How are you doing on this Good Friday? So I was going to talk about today how God has a sense of humor. And let me tell you, he gets quite a laugh at my expense. When my oldest daughter was younger, she used to always say, "Mom, please have another baby. I want a baby sister." And I said the thing that any parent would say in that situation. Well, the only way you're going to get one is pray for it, because I am not having any more kids. Wrong answer. Because she did. And she prayed. And she prayed for a baby sister. Well, one morning my husband was in shaving, and I come busting through the door, and I got sick in the bathroom sink. Well, of course, being as thoughtful as he is, he said, "Are you pregnant?" And of course, my answer was, "No way in hell am I pregnant." I was on the pill. How could I possibly be pregnant? Well, a couple weeks later, I was having a rummage sale. And I was pretty sure that he might be right. So I thought, well, what better way than to not be pregnant is to sell every single baby item you have, because, that's going to solve the problem. So I did. I sold everything, almost wheeled out the baby crib, and at the last moment decided not to. Well, I put it off, and I put it off until I was 4 months pregnant and decided, well, I guess I better go to the doctor. So I made an appointment and went in, and they're like, well, we better get an ultrasound to see how far along you are. So they did an ultrasound, and they said, do you want to know what you're going to have? And I'm like, why not? And so they said, you're having a girl. And guess what? She was going to be due on my oldest daughter's birthday. Yeah, God is hysterical, isn't he? And so didn't say much. We had a camping trip planned, and we went camping. And as I stood on the cliffs there by Palisades, I seriously considered jumping. And I'm not kidding. I even had planned it before we went camping, that I was going to jump off. Well, I didn't, obviously. And this was not a good time to have a baby. As if there ever is a good time. But, we were having some financial difficulties. Steve and I were not getting along very good. And, our kids were so busy. I just couldn't even fathom throwing a baby into the mix of softball tournaments, basketball tournaments. They played soccer. I just couldn't fathom taking a baby along to all this stuff. But, like I said, God is funny, and he thought it was so funny that I was going to throw a baby into this mix. Well, we had decided we better tell our parents, and so I heard a lot of those sweet comments like, don't you know where babies come from? No, of course I don't. I already had 3 kids. I had no idea. Yes, I know where babies come from. Well, my mother, in her eloquent choice of words, said to me, didn't you always tell your daughter to pray for a baby sister? Of course I did. Did you have to bring it up? Well, I had difficulties being pregnant again. God thought this will be funny. Let's make her lay on her back for weeks. So I had preeclampsia, and finally they decided we better start her. We don't want to lose this baby, and didn't want to lose me, although at the time I probably would have thought, is this really worth it? So So I checked into the hospital and they put me on Pitocin to get me started. And I'm had all my kids natural childbirth. Absolutely no pain meds, anything. So again, God thought this is really funny. We're just gonna make this labor and delivery one she'll never forget. Well, my daughter was way up high and she hadn't even dropped. And so they'd just been in to check me and I was like a 4. And in just a couple minutes after she'd walked out, I could just feel my daughter shift down into position. I just literally felt her drop inside me. And the next contraction, I had to push. And I looked at Steve and I said, I've got to push. So he opens the door and he says to the nurse, yeah, she's ready to push. And they're out there. And there's no way. We just checked her. She's a 4. And they took their time. I said to my husband, either you're going to get someone in here or you're going to deliver this baby yourself. And he looked down. I was sitting up, just like I'm sitting right now in the bed, and could see the head. So he opens the door of the room and he says, hey, I need somebody in here right now. My wife's going to have this baby. I see the head. So the nurse comes in and she sits down and she's like, oh my gosh. She picks up the phone, yells delivery in whatever room I was, right away calling for help. And I looked at her and I said, I'm not waiting. I'm having this baby and I'm having this baby now. Well, lo and behold, this beautiful little 6-pound, 6-ounce girl came out. And here I knew I'd loved her all along. And from that day on, she became a blessing and not a mistake, but she was meant to be. And God had sent her for a reason. And even though he was making it a funny ride till we got her, I don't know what I would have done with my days had she not been there. And my mother had often cursed me and said, I hope you have a kid just like you. And the 2 youngest ones are the most like me. But it was a great relationship having her in the house when everybody was gone. Something to do every day. We had a lot of fun. And we brought along a lot of friends because there wasn't somebody else to hang with her. So all you girls out there that came along for the rides and we had a good time, I appreciate you being in her life too. So everyone have a great Easter weekend.